So we're now going to install a separate disk and connect it to our instance. So I'm going to go to storage and we're going to use a disk. So there's big differences between a disk and a bucket. So an Amazon bucket is actually a service which it interacts differently with your server. So there is an app, a plugin that you can install into WordPress that will back up to the bucket, but the files will still be in the wrong place. So even if you used an Amazon bucket, you still want to have a separate disk anyway. So I'm going to create that disk and I'm just going to use the smallest disk. You can give it a meaningful name for you if you like. I'm just going to leave it as disk 1 for now, and I'm going to create that disk. Okay, and then I want to attach it to an instance. So I'm going to attach it to that Lightsail instance, and you'll see here that it's given the disk path that we will need for accessing it within the server. So I'm just going to copy and paste that disk path because I'll need to reference that afterwards. And I'm going to attach the disk. So you'll see here it's giving me a warning, and it says because I currently have automatic snapshots enabled, the amount that I'm billed for the automatic snapshot storage will be affected by adding this disk. Okay, so I'm going to accept that for now. And in fact, for testing, I'm actually going to jump back and I'm actually going to turn off the automatic snapshots because I don't actually need it for this server because this is a testing server. It's going to matter for an actual live website. So you can make that decision on whether you want that, but I'm going to turn that off. And yes, I'll disable that. So while that applies, we're going to come in and have a look here, and I'm actually going to run lsblk, and we'll see if we can actually see that on here. So I can actually already see it. The 8 gig disk is there. So the main disk, you'll see here, I've got 20 gig disk there, and this is my 8 gigabyte disk that I just added. So I'm actually going to format the file system on this disk, and I need to type that disk name that I wrote down before. So that was xvdf. Oh, I need sudo. xfs xvdf. Let's try that. Okay, so there we go. I'm just going to verify this now just to check. And that looks okay. So now we need to create a mount point for that disk. I'm going to call it data. So I'm going to go make, sudo make dir data. So that's how I'm going to access that drive, that disk. And sudo mount. Now I need to type the disk name. So that's xvdf. And I'm going to point that to data. Excellent. All right, let's just check that out. So find mount. There's that mount point here, data, and it's pointing to the disk that I created. Problem is when we reboot, this is actually going to disappear. So instead of recreating each time, now I want to create a persistent mount upon reboot. First, we're going to make a backup of the fstab file. So sudo, we're going to copy it. We'll copy it to etc fstab.original. So we've got a backup now. And now we're actually going to edit that. I'm going to use nano to edit the fstab file. So I just need to copy and paste. So here we've got the directory, the mount point that it's pointing to, the file system. So let's save that. So we're actually going to restart that server now. Okay, so I've now logged back into the server. So let's have a little check and see if we still have that mount point. And there we go. So I was able to change directory to that directory that I created. And we can also check that disk now as well by typing in the find mnt command, and we can still see that data directory has been mounted to point to that disk.